as somebody who is going through that transition like myself and maybe others who are listening, it can be a big, scary transition. And something that actually I want to bring up that you said to me one time is that remember that you're not starting from the bottom, that you have years of experience.
Welcome to the 7 Eagle Group podcast, your home for inspiring stories, valuable tips, and great advice from hard-charging veterans so you can lead a more rewarding and lucrative post-military career.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Brandon Gresham. This is my first podcast for 7 Eagle. I'm a transitioning active duty Air Force member of security forces, which is military police by trade, currently skill bridging with 7 Eagle. Been given this opportunity to basically come on and talk to people who have already transitioned out of the military. And we're going to kind of keep it with like a cyber information technology focus for these podcasts. And I'm going to let him introduce himself, but I'm just going to say that this is a really good friend of mine. His name is Eric Mamac. We go back quite a bit. And but yeah, Eric, if you want to go ahead and tell everybody about who you are, we can get started.
Yeah, Eric Mamac, recently retired security forces member, 24 years active, Air Force, retired last July, and transitioned into the IT world with a little help from fellow prior security forces members as well. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. So how did you what inspired you to get into the IT world, and kind of like how did you make that decision to leap from law enforcement into IT?
It's an easy answer for me. It's actually just one single person kind of forced me into it. I'm not gonna lie. I give this dude all the credit in the world. It is my one of my past troops when I was a staff sergeant in Incirlik. His name is Rob King, and he was one of my senior airmen then, and yeah, reached out to me when I got into Beale. I was full force into going into emergency management. All my degree plans are all in emergency management. I liked it. I actually really enjoy the large level incident responses. I mean, you've seen it, all those exercises and going into IG and being an event planner, exercise planner. I really enjoyed it. So, but I got here. He reached out to me after I shot a pic of the dragon lady outside of the headquarters out here. He's like, "Hey, you're here." All right. Like, well, I'm gonna work with you in getting you into cyber. I was like, okay, dude. Like, I had like 1 year left in the military. I was like, whatever, man. And no joke, this dude was just force feeding me cyber training, onward to opportunity. He force fed me every bit of this thing, and he was not going to leave me alone. So, yeah, I went for it with a lot of forced motivation from him, and that's who got me here, and that's the person I'm grateful for.
So I hear really two big things with what you just said. The first being that as vets in our community, we really push each other to be better. And I know for certain that you've helped me out quite a bit. And but that's one of the best things about the veteran community is that we're here for each other all the time. And that's kind of the whole point of these podcasts as well. These Transition Tuesday podcasts that we're doing with people. And then the second thing I took away from it is that you got into it basically with no prior knowledge. And here you are as an IT professional and veteran. And that's pretty amazing. Can you tell us more about the Onward to Opportunity program and kind of how what it is and then what it was like going through it?
Yeah. So first off, you are exactly right on both accounts. I think veterans, when we walk through it, we know how hard it was. So we always look forward to assist. I don't think anybody really asks for assistance, but because we know it's hard, just kind of pushing on people like subtly, like, hey, here's some training, here's some this. And yeah, I had no prior experience. I'm not gonna lie, I used to ask my kids for assistance. Hey, how do I get on FaceTime on my own phone? Like me.
Right.
So it was rough, but it was doable. It's doable for anybody. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So Onward to Opportunity. Onward to Opportunity was another force-fed program to me from Rob. Um, he went through the IVMF through Syracuse University, which is an amazing program. Their library on study, um, products, CompTIA, ISACA, everything. Whatever certification you want is there. If for an IT, I only know about the IT side, so if somebody went through another program, they could probably speak to that. But from the IT side of Onward to Opportunity, that library of knowledge is huge.
Hmm.
I initially set up for Security Plus, and I was reading into Security Plus for probably about 3, 4 days, just going through all their study material piece by piece by piece. By the third day, I was telling Rob, I don't know anything. This is Greek. This is Chinese. I don't understand it.
Right.
Networking, nothing. He's like he's like you need to go back. You need to go back and learn a little bit more. So the good thing with Onward to, the IBMF for Syracuse University is once you're in it, you have access to their entire library of study material.
Hmm.
So they had other certification study portions there, CompTIA Network Plus, CompTIA Fundamentals, CompTIA A Plus. So I went back from the get like the jump. I went back to CompTIA Fundamentals. Like this is a computer. Like I went to the bottom of the barrel and just started working my way up. I read through Fundamentals. I read through A Plus. Read through Network Plus. And by the time I came back to that third day of Security Plus, I was like, okay, now I understand where I'm at. I gained the foundational knowledge I needed, and start pushing from there.
Right. So eventually you got a position with the Defense Microelectronics Agency. The
Yeah.
certs that you got walking out of the Onward Opportunity Program was the CompTIA Security Plus. Did you need any other certifications for that job that you were
Um,
awarded prior to?
no, with the level requirements I needed, Security Plus was the only requirement I needed to do
Hmm.
the IT portion of program management side. So yeah, that was the only one I really needed.
Got you. Cool. So what are your day-to-day duties like there as an IT program manager?
So an IT program manager. So day to day, I normally go to the engineers. The
Hmm.
engineers create the need for certain projects, systems, excuse me, um, and just wants and things that they need. And I find the requirements that these new systems, new software, anything, requirements that they need to be put onto it. So when I find the requirement, then I start reaching out to the other people, like the other cyber guys and my program manager from the MEA, and then just let them know, hey, this is the need of the customer, this is the problem of the customer, this is the way they want to go,
Hmm.
and these are probably the roadblocks that I'm going to hit. So I need some assistance from the networking guys. I need some assistance from the system admin guys. These are the things we're going to do. So I plan out the entire program or the entire project, and then we just start hitting milestones along.
Got you. So let's kind of put this in perspective of a flight chief, right? You were a flight chief in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, you are going to the people that are doing these jobs at like the tactical level, right? And
Right.
you're helping them manage what they need to do. You're projecting work, you're setting goals, you're setting milestones, like you said. So these skills that you need in this role in civilian workforce, would you agree that you get a lot of those just from being in the military and supervising and managing people?
I absolutely agree. I I believe that if you made it to at least to a staff sergeant or a really, really capable senior airman,
Hmm.
an experienced senior airman, not capable, they're all capable, right? An experienced senior airman, that you will have majority of the program management experience that you're going to need for basically any medium, like any introduction, low level to medium level program management jobs. I mean,
Hmm.
we like you said, like, like just day-to-day operations. You find the need, you find the requirements, and then you find the people, and you just start pushing them, motivating them to get it done.
Yeah.
So that's a very, like very man, what's the word without?
Like macro view.
Yeah, that's a very macro view of program management, but like I said, everybody's got this experience.
Right.
Anybody can walk into it. Like I said, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
So definitely what I hear from what you're saying is that the positions that we hold in the military, they have relevancy in the civilian workforce. And as somebody who is going through that transition, like myself and maybe others who are listening, it can be a big, scary transition. And something that actually I want to bring up that you said to me one time is that remember that you're not starting from the bottom, that you have years of experience. And to kind of remember that when you're considering that you're transitioning into a civilian role. And when you said that to me, it actually gave me a level of peace because I had been thinking about myself and almost as oddly as it sounds, like an 18-year-old version of me trying to find a job. And I kind of had
Yeah,
to realize what you said is true. So when you say these things about how you're transitioning these skills you've learned from the military into a civilian job, it is actually really beneficial to hear even from a confidence standpoint because you're hearing and seeing, like you said, if you can do it, anybody can do it. And give yourself more credit. You're a really smart guy and you have a lot of really great skills, but it's true that as military members, our experiences are relevant and they have a place to transition, even if you're going from law enforcement to IT, which is a considerable jump. There's not a lot of similarities there.
yeah. I, yeah. I mean, I walked the same road you're going through right now. I was nervous,
Hmm.
Um, when you're walking away from the military and you have this job security, your family's taken care of, you have housing, you have food, you have all of this.
Hmm.
Um, I I know you feel it too. We don't have the luxury to fail. We just
Hmm.
don't. There's no way you can just say, well, I quit. Like whatever. Like
Right.
no, I don't have that. We don't have that luxury. I have three daughters. I gotta keep pushing, right?
Hmm.
Um, this is my mission. This is my kids, my wife, my mission. So mission comes first. Whatever it takes is where I want to do.
Right.
The skills you have are absolutely transferable. Absolutely transferable. This is what they look for. They look for
Hmm.
somebody who's going to be on time, who's got super anxiety about being on time. Like if that's not a skill that the military gave you, uh, that freaking fear of being 5 minutes late,
Yeah.
that is one thing it sucks, right? It sucks that, but um, it's super beneficial here. You're on time, you're professional,
Hmm.
you most likely will get, you can get the job done no matter what, but you will also give them your explanation on why this is probably not a good idea. And it's always in a
Right.
professional way. They always look for it. They look for somebody who's just willing to do the work, put in the time, and just get through it. Um,
Right.
and we all have these skills, man. NCOs, they really look for you. Senior airmen, A1Cs, all of us, man, they look for everybody. We're
Yeah.
super innovative. We look for ways around, we don't look for ways around things, but we look for ways to make it easier, right? It's smarter, not harder. So
Hmm.
that benefits any company out there right now.
Hmm.
So I think they're searching for us, and I think a lot of the old heads put that fear in young NCOs, and I mean senior NCOs that came up like, hey, this is as good as you can get. Why are you getting out? Like I mean,
Right.
there are jobs. Like I love that I retired, but there are jobs. There are tons of jobs. If you're not
Right.
happy, hey, thanks for your service. You did your work. We appreciate it, man. And if you want to move on, hey, we're gonna help you out. So
Hmm.
just don't be afraid to do anything, man. Just something simple, that plan. Reach out to the old heads that already went through.
Hmm.
Tell you.
Yeah. So it's definitely something to take away from what you said is that there's a lot of fear with going through this process of transitioning, but that some of those fears, when you start actually looking at what you need to do to transition, that there are jobs out there, that people are interested in us, I would say that that does provide, a semblance of peace, or like that light at the end of the tunnel to say, I'm going to come out on the other side with a job, with something that I can do, and kind of find that sense of purpose that maybe we lose when we lose our position in the military. Is that something that I know that a lot of people go through, is they lose who they are? It's that identity.
Yeah.
From day one, you are taught that you are now part of something bigger than yourself, and that what you do matters. And the longer you stay in, I think the more that becomes ingrained, not just in your mind, but your soul and who you are as a person. So, there is life after the military, and it may be scary, but it is doable. And I think that that is excellent advice for people.
Yeah, I agree. Um, that thing that you just said, the identity,
Mm-hmm.
no one really talks about that. When you go
Mm-hmm.
through TAPS, they prepare you for resumes and jobs and interviews and all these other things, right? They tell you to go do your
Mm-hmm.
medical appointments, but nobody tells you that you have this little gap in time where you lose your identity. You
Mm-hmm.
kind of lose the purpose that you have, and that takes a little time to identify,
Mm-hmm.
and that takes a little bit of talking with other people to clear up and start walking through.
Yeah.
I went through it. I went through it hard. I didn't realize what I was going through until I think I was talking to Robbie one day. I was like, man, I'm struggling, dude. I don't know, like I was already working with the IT world, but I didn't have, there wasn't that kind of need for me anymore, like when I was in
Mm-hmm.
operations in Volgaway or anything like that. That need is no longer there.
Right.
4:30, you're gone. Like, hey, see you later. Nobody's calling you, nothing. There's no need
Yeah.
for you. So prepare for that as well. The
Mm-hmm.
identity crisis. Some of us walk through an identity crisis after, and um, to ID it and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it with an old vet or talk about it with a therapist, whatever. But when you lose purpose in something in life, then uh, that's a hard one in the battle.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really glad you brought that up, because mental health matters, and not just while you're serving,
Yeah,
but after the fact. You are a veteran for life.
yeah,
So, just to kind of conclude this is, don't be afraid to do this, and, or try not to be. And don't be afraid to ask for help when you're going through this, because like we said at the beginning, the veteran community, we are here for each other. We all want to help. I know for a fact, there, and it's not just you, but I can reach out to this entire network of people I've met over my career and ask questions. And even if it's just for, some conversation, knowing I'm going to feel better when I walk away because I get that support and that relatable experience from somebody else, we're all here. And I think that that is probably one of the biggest tools in your toolbox while you're transitioning, is knowing and working with other vets. So what would be, you'd say, the best piece of advice that you could give somebody who is, like me, like hundreds, thousands maybe of other people who are military members transitioning into civilian life? Best advice.
um, take your time, take the leave, and just, if you run into any issues, speak to somebody who recently went through it. You know, not the old vets that went through it in the 80s, the 90s. Find somebody that recently went through it, um, that knows the struggles of the economy now and all this other thing, and talk to them. Um, that is probably the best information and best tip I can give somebody, is
Mm-hmm.
talk to somebody who went through it recently. Um, there's somebody out there, right? I'm a year out. I got a buddy down the street, 2 months out. Um, there's, it's doable. It's absolutely doable. There's nothing to worry about. The community, the aftercare, the veteran care, the VA, we just won't let you fail. We won't let you fail. Failure is not an option here. So
I love it. Awesome, man. Hey, thank you so much for jumping on with us. And like I said, everybody, this is the first in hopefully several podcasts with me. I'm Brandon Gresham doing these Transition Tuesday episodes. Our first guest, like I said, Eric Mamac. Thank you so much for jumping on with us, dude. You're awesome, man. I really, I've known you for a while, and for everybody out there in the audience listening, Eric is truly an amazing human being. So I really appreciate you setting time out of your Sunday to come on here and talk to me. And looking forward to further conversations, guys, with Seven Eagle, with other vets who have transitioned and hearing their successes and what they did to overcome that transition from getting out of the military and going into civilian life. So we'll see you guys in the next Transition Tuesday. Out.